So, hello, thank you for the invitation. I'm Alexander Tam from the University of Mainz, and we're happy to share our early experience with the Sapien 3 Ultra valve, which we could use as the first center in Germany with the old commander system we all know from the Sapien 3 and with the e-sheath. And just to update everyone on the Sapien 3 Ultra system, it's the Sapien 3, of course. It's the same frame design, it's the same bovine pericardial tissue we know, but on top, and what's new, is the new much taller outer frame of a new textured PT material, so you can see that here. And here we can see the exact differences. So it's just one diamond, the outer skirt moved one diamond up, and it's not this flat fabric anymore, it's a textured fabric. Looks like a little bit, if you see it in live, it looks a bit like somebody stole the wristband of Ivan Lendl from the 80s, so it's really like a puffy skirt. And what we can achieve with that is that we have much more contact area to the native anatomy. So it's 50% more. And why does Edwards even did this? They looked at the Partner 2A trial, and they could see that in the bigger prosthesis sizes, like 29, also 26, we see very good results concerning the perivalvular leakage with like non-trace and mild overall, and just a really, really small proportion of moderate AR. But in the lower prosthesis sizes, we could see a much more proportion of moderate and also mild AR, and that led to the design of the Sapien 3 Ultra, which, of course, for that case, now we have in the 20, 23, and 26, and the 29 is still the old Sapien 3, but we won't think that there will be any issues with the PVL. And on the other hand, goes like this. It's the same frame than before, with a low frame that allows us for good coronary access, and so we are treating more younger patients, patients with low risk, and we all know that we want to have good coronary access, so that of course stayed the same, but this is a crucial point also for us in Mainz, that we are able to treat a lot of young patients, low risk patients by now after the Partner 3 data, and this is a key point for us to use the Sapien valve in these patients with coronary artery disease, so that we have a good outcome for these patients in the upcoming years. So this is something you already know. So the Sapien 3 Ultra was designed as an already mounted device, and with a new delivery system, new sheath, and because of some technical issues, the company moved back, and this is exactly the thing we know before, like the Edwards Commander delivery system, really well known, and the e-sheath introducer. Right now there's a little bit bigger loader to load the delivery system into the e-sheath. Maybe they will come up with betterment after that, because it's a little bit too big right now, but everything else is quite the same. And so we're literally dropping our trousers here, and I will show you all our 8 cases we have, just briefly, but all our 8 cases we have in our centers, the experience from starting 2 weeks ago till yesterday. So first one will be an 80-year-old female patient with severe AS. You can see it here. She has mild coronary artery disease, atrial fibrillation, and a history of stroke with no residuals. Of course, severe aortic stenosis was confirmed. And you can see the CT scan. So our first ultra patient was quite nice. Tricuspid, not so hard calcified aortic valve, a root and aortic arch axis that is favorable, and also the peripherals were very favorable for TAVR. And just to show you how it works with the Ultra in the Commander delivery system, as you would expect. It's exactly the same like in the Sapien 3, and it also works very easy. So it's no pushing against something or no worsening of the alignment or of the delivery. Crossing the arch and crossing the valve is also easy as you would know it before from the Sapien 3. And also retraction of the flex catheter of the pusher is easy as it was before. So there are basically no differences in the delivery of the valve, and also, as I would say, no difference in implantation. That some centers that use the mainly designed for ultra system that mentioned some issues with the balloon before. So we have like the old balloon system now, and the implantation is quite like you would know it from the Sapien 3. So Sapien Ultra, and this is like exactly the final result, 30 seconds or 1 minute after the implantation. So we had no PVL at all in our first case, also shown on the echo on table. In second case, was a little bit harder, was a little bit more calcification. 40-year-old, again, female patient with very tortuous anatomy in the peripherals and also in the aortic arch. But you can see as well that there was a good delivery of the Sapien 3 Ultra here. So no problems at all. And again, a little bit deeper implantation, but again, no PVL at all. And so I want to go a little bit fast forward. So again, a female patient, 79-year-old, very much calcification on the RC. And again, no PVL at all. So this is something we wouldn't have expected from the Ultra before, that it was so good, but first 3 cases. No PVL, and case 4 was a 76-year-old male with not so much calcified aortic valve, and somehow the video won't run.
Can you manually start?
Ah, now I do. And this was the first one we saw, like trace to mild PVL, but this is the echo from the next day on the regular ward. So again, no PVL at all. And 86-year-old male patient. I'm going fast forward, but you get the point. So we really, and this is unfortunately a patient that wouldn't be in the study, but 70-year-old female patient with typically bicuspid valve, type 1, L and non-coronary, LCC non-coronary raphe, and very horizontal aorta, and again, no PVL, very good case, which a patient that wouldn't be in the study, but maybe we could have an amendment because we can treat them so good. 79-year-old male patient. And the last case, from those who know these pictures, you see the valve is totally fine. 90-year-old female patient, severe AS with no PVL at all, but you might recognize the pictal catheter here. There was a wire injury of the myocardial, and we had a pericardial infusion that has to be drained. So, but anyhow, to conclude this, in our early experience with 8 cases now, starting 2 weeks ago, loading, delivery, and valve crossing, and also the implantation was as easy with the Sapien 3 valve. We treated different anatomies with the Sapien 3 Ultra and showed the valve, the prosthesis showed equally excellent results. And this is nothing I made up, so I didn't exclude any patient. It was really all the 8 patients, all patients we treated, mine so far had 0 PVL. So this will be, or I hope this will be, really good valve and treatment of all the patients that we will have also in the study. So thank you from Mainz. Any questions?
How many of these patients might be candidates for Rheia trial?
For me, we had 5 female patients here, so the 90-year-old maybe not. Maybe we, so in our centers, and I talked to our surgeon, that is in our heart team. And I think we will include young, low-risk female patients mostly into the study. So like in the age of 65 to 75, this is something that we will go for. And but maybe also this 76-year-old female patient would have been in the study as well. But our heart surgeon, as we told before, he will bring us the patients, or he will maybe screen for the patients that will go directly to his department and come to us and say, this would be a patient I would include in the trial as well. So.
Yeah, I have very nice cases, especially the bicuspid and the horizontal aorta. I was wondering, not very severely calcified, and you didn't show any LVOT calc. Where in your vast experience is the cutoff now for calcification? This was also one of the surgical comments with regard of the partner 3 selection criteria.
Yeah, calcification of the valve I wouldn't exclude at all, so all these patients do very, very well. If there's severe annular calcification in our department, we would go for self-expanding valve.
Severe LVOT, actually, so the annular is not so much the problem, it's a little bit more prohibitive, short axis calcification, and perhaps calcification, massive calcification extending into the LVOT. That's the only risk situation. This was also excluded in partner 3, so I would also exclude this here.
So it once again echoes your comment. That's why we want to see the CT scan before randomization, just to make sure that we select the appropriate candidates and we avoid these 2 risky patients. Yeah. I had a question for those who have experience with the Ultra. We see that there is an extended skirt, so theoretically or potentially there is a higher risk for a higher gradient, so more folding in the anatomy, so lower, less expansion of the stent frame, higher gradients. Do you see any patient prosthesis mismatch more in that S3 Ultra population as compared to what you've done with the S3?
We haven't seen it in these 8 patients, so they were all had like the gradients we would know from Sapien 3, like it's intraprocedural. If you measure it invasively, it's like 0, 0, 2, 1, 2, and they have a mean gradient at departure between, let's say, 8, depending on the size of the valve, between 8 and 13. So this is something we would know before. So nothing there, but we will.
What about pacemaker and pacemaker?
We had no pacemaker in these patients.
So quite reassuring data about the gradient and the pacemaker rates, because these were concerns that people had in mind when this device came out. Maybe we're gonna be extremely efficient for PV leak, but the trade-off will be higher gradients and higher risk of pacemakers. So.
Yeah, might be. What I think is the Sapien 3 was already very forgiving valve, if like the implantation is not totally on point, and we see one patient that was quite low, so it was like not implanted like 1910 or 80-20, so more like 70-30, 60-40, but still there was no PVL. So I think this is a big achievement of the taller skirt, so that if you don't have the ideal implantation, still there will be no PVL, and I think the valve works fine and the gradients won't be an issue.
So I had a comment from David saying that we don't have within the exclusion criteria a cutoff for the coronary height. It's not part of the exclusion criteria, but we will make sure during the screening committee review that we anticipate a very low risk of coronary obstruction for a dedicated patient. If you have a low coronary height but really large sinuses, the risk of obstruction should be minimal. On the other hand, shallow sinuses, low coronary height, or extremely calcified leaflets, these patients may be also excluded. So that's why we want to see at least the screenshots of the CT scan before the procedure.
Yeah, I may probably add to the performance of the Ultra. We have done 50 or 60 so far since January, and hemodynamics were very good. Actually, we did not observe gradients or any obstacles with that. And regarding coronary height, do you recommend a cutoff?
No, there is no.
Okay, so 6-7 millimeters is fine.
It depends on the overall anatomy of the arteries.
So we have only benefit.
Yeah.
Mm.